Hello YouTube, this is Insane Monster and we are here for part 8 of What If Asta was the son of King and Diane. Now then, if you're wondering why this has taken so long, due to a Category 5 hurricane, my cable got knocked out and the cable company still hasn't been able to get here to fix it. Typical. But I am appreciative that you guys have been waiting patiently, and as thanks, there will be something set up. With all that said, I do hope that you will enjoy. Down in the description below will be links to some merch involving Black Clover and such, so I do hope you find those enjoyable. With all this being said, hit now then, ever since the underwater sea temple, afterwards, Asta has been feeling a weird pressure in his back, though he doesn't see anything. After a while, Yami gets annoyed with Asta trying to swipe at his back when there's nothing there, and brings him to the top medical mage to figure out what's going on with him. Since he's a fairy giant hybrid, Yami's not even going to bother trying to figure out what's going on with him. As we also see Ellie and Lancelot follow along, with Charmy and Finral being dragged along by Yami. As they enter, they go meet up with the head medical mage. After a quick examination, he states that he can't find anything particularly wrong with Asta, though from what I know and heard, he's not quite human, so I can't say how his body's supposed to work. So there is that. Lancelot pipes in, stating that it might be his wings. The doctor had to examine his back and noticed that there was some kind of energy gathering in 2 points on his back. As we just see the Wizard King just in the background with Marks, because the Wizard King heard about something going on through the grapevine, because of course he did, and is just excited to know what's going on. As Lancelot explains that Asta's father was a late bloomer as well to his wings. As he looks over to his sister Ellie, they turn their backs as a puff of smoke reveals their wings, and they begin to explain. Fairies have the ability to alter their form somewhat. In their case, they more or less make their wings disappear, since sometimes enemies might target them. Stating that the power he also showed during the underwater sea temple is a sign that the spirit spear is actually beginning to awaken to its true power. But until the wings even begin to sprout, it's going to be dangerous to even attempt to use it. Asta states, "I've been trying to. It just won't budge." As he just sighs. As Lancelot continues, remarking that someone did show him the memories of when his dad actually attained his complete power. As Julius just got sparkled eyes staring at Marks, as he just sighed, stating, of course, sir. He asked Lancelot if he would be permitted to look into his memories that were shown to him as in order to understand what's happening. Lancelot just smirked, stating, go for it. As they check, they see the memories that Gother showed Lancelot, as they see his Asta's father in his full form. Very big and bright wings, as well as a gigantic spear floating behind him. Julius' eyes are popping out of his head as tears of joy or water falling out of his skull. He is also beginning to blind everyone near him from his eyes sparkling from it, as he notices that the spirit spear split up into multiple forms in their full state. Asta just couldn't help but smirk, thinking that he'd be able to do something like that. After Mark finished, Julius finally composed himself and stated, well, I suppose this just means you're maturing. And, I'm not really sure what to call this, actually. Let me just say I don't think anybody knows what to call it. As they thank the doctor for checking them out, and they begin to walk. As they talk, this is when the attack from the Diamond Kingdom starts. Julius has already left with Marks, and now the Diamond Kingdom attack. This is when Yami just jolted off, as well as Ellie and Lancelot going in one direction, as Asta, Finral, and Charmy went off in a different one. This is also when the Golden Dawn shows up. As things somewhat happen similar, except for a few points. When Yuno meets up with the Lightning Shining General, the battle does start off like in canon from the beginning, but as the fight continues, the general noticed right before he got cut that some type of spinning blade almost cut right across his chest. As he gains some distance, he notices that it's some flying sword. Yuno just looks at him as the Wind Spirit Bell just says, "Oh, we almost got him." Yuno remarks, "Calm down, Bell. He's not getting away." Snapping his fingers, the sword multiplies, flying around in a dome-like pattern. As the Shining General smirks, stating, "Well, aren't you interesting? Are you sure this is going to be enough?" As Yuno smirks, stating, "I think it's more than enough. Sacred treasure for release. Sacred tree sword." As his grimoire begins to glow, as well as the blade stopping in various spots at different angles, spinning more and more. Yuno states, "Wind magic. Sacred tree sword. Crushing typhoon." As multiple tornadoes begin to shoot out from the spinning blades, smacking the Shining General from all the angles at once, causing him to fall to the ground. As for Asta, he's helping taking out Diamond Mages left and right, as are Ellie and Lancelot. As Lancelot is taking a good chunk of their magic with his snatch magic, half, and binding them with his plants. Ellie's pretty much just scorching them with her fire and slamming them to the ground with her wind half. As for Asta, he's just wrecking them left and right. This is when the signing general that uses mucus magic shows up in front of them, carrying a large number of civilians as he's missing one of his arms. As he laughs, the signing general states, "Let's see if that youngster will attack me now. And I got their precious civilians as hostage." As this Golden Dawn's vice captain, Longris, shows up. Sorry. He looks down as he just scoffs, about to go and attack with his spatial magic, not even thinking twice about hurting the civilians. As the spatial magic is shot, Gumnir in its dark first form hits the spatial magic, destroying it. As both of them are shocked, the spear then turns into its increased form, dark, and just shoots around the civilians and the signing general. As he falls to the ground, he yells, "What just happened?" Asta blitzed straight for him, striking him with the Demon Slayer sword, sending him through a wall. As he looks over at the Golden Dawn's vice captain, Asta looks angry, stating, "What is wrong with you? We're supposed to protect the people, not eliminate them when it's convenient." As he gets annoyed, stating if they were worth anything, they would have just not been captured, but they were. So they should feel grateful that they died in order to protect the Clover Kingdom. Though, before this gets any heated, Klaus, Mimosa, and Yuno show up, and their vice captain just walks off. Asta stating, "What is wrong with that guy?" As Emerald apologizes for his younger brother. Surprising Asta, he just looks at him stating, "What? That's... what?" With everything calmed down, Yami going to check William Vengeance if he's the leader of the Midnight Sun or not, finding that he isn't, since the look, the feel of the mana and such are all different. They meet back up and are seeing that everything's taken care of. And with that, they do discuss some things before they leave. As Ellie remarks, "Your brother seems to have a bit of a attitude problem, as well as a problem when viewing people, huh?" Finral just looks down, stating, I don't know what's with him." As they are glad that that's over, and head back. Once the news is given about Asta wings might be beginning to sprout, the Black Bulls want to celebrate, obviously, and Charmy's already trying to shove food down Asta's mouth, congratulating him. As everyone is eating more and more, as well as having it as a little celebration for the Underwater Sea Temple mission. This is where Tristan and Lancelot end up doing an arm wrestling match that fractures the ground, causing everybody to laugh as they keep trying to win. And when one loses, it's an instant rematch, and then it just keeps going back and forth. With that, everything goes pretty well. After some time passes, the Black Bulls get an alert that there is a large force from the Diamond Kingdom moving into Clover Kingdom's territory. Not only that, but when monitoring it from a wide perspective, there's a secondary force mobilizing as well. The Wizard King isn't available, and it seems that it's also the Eye of the Midnight Sun. Yami sighing, thinking about why they would both go to the same place at the same time, remarking how annoying this is. He asked where they're going, as Mark gulped, stating they're headed to the witch's forest. Vanessa eyes open wide, thinking, oh no, 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 no. As she yells out that they'll take the mission, with Mark's sighing in relief, stating, okay, thank you. Good luck. Yami looking at her and accepting her decision. With Lilith yelling, sweet, this sounds like it might be interesting. Yami stating, it would be, but unfortunately I can't go. Looking at Yami, they ask why. He explains that he got into a little bit of mischief in the Witch's Forest way back when. And if he goes there, the Witch Queen might hang him. Or at least try to hang him. So it's a no-go for him. As Gordon states that his magic really isn't suited to be used in the forest or as he's also staying behind. Ghost is too engrossed in sculpting a Marie statue out of wood, so that's a no for him too. With that, the rest of the Black Bulls, as well as the newer members of Ellie, Lancelot, Tristan, and Lilith, are now going on their way. Before they leave, Yami states that if they need to know something about the Witch's Forest, to just ask Vanessa. As they head out, Noelle looked over at Vanessa as she was riding on Chariot's guardian pillow form, with Asta flying on the side. Noelle asked, Vanessa, what can you tell us about the Witch Queen? I've only heard some rumors, but they can't all really be real, right? She laughs, somewhat softly, stating, depends on what rumors you're talking about. As Noelle states that it says that she's like hundreds of years old, but still has a youthful appearance. And that she's so powerful that she can even rival the Wizard King. As Vanessa states, is true. The Witch Queen uses blood magic, upon which Lilith's ears twitch hearing that, finding it pretty interesting. As he continues, Vanessa explains that she is about 500 years old, or more. She doesn't quite know the number herself. As Lilith just chuckles a bit, stating, that's not really that big of a deal. Honestly, my father and mother are about 3,000. With shocked faces, most of the Black Bulls just stare at Lilith. With Tristan stating, yeah, same here, more or less. Seeing Tristan in shock. And then Lilith follows up saying, oh yeah, and there's Merlin. He's also about 3,000 too, as well. With this, they're just wondering how. Vanessa she just had to ask, how are they? Lilith explained that her father is a demon, and her mother is a vampire. Normal aging for humans don't apply to them. As for Tristan, his father's a demon, while his mother is actually a member of the goddess race, pointing out about the upper black wings and the lower white wings he has coming out of his back. They just thought that was something about his black, well, the darkness and the light magic coming out of him. Thought. But apparently not. As he also explains, as for Merlin, she's basically human like, but she has a power called infinity to where the magic of the world can fuel her spells infinitely instead of using it herself. She uses that ability as a way to use a form of old time spell that freezes a person's body at a certain age, meaning that they won't age, and as long as they have mana to fuel the spell. And since she doesn't need to fuel the spell herself, she's more or less semi-immortal. With this, Vanessa doesn't even want to think about how she would interact with her. It was hard enough for her to interact with the Witch Queen. You can't imagine interacting with with Merlin, who's more or less 6 times older. So they just hurry up and get to the witch's forest. The guys ended up having to sit on the sideline as they hurry up going to the witch queen with only the females to negotiate and inform them. They were given an order by the Wizard King to give aid, as they are technically part of the Clover Kingdom, even if their witch's forest somewhat acts independently from the Clover Kingdom. The Witch Queen looks at Vanessa, but she is very nervous when she does that, and the Witch Queen does accept their proposal, and she'd rather not have her people get involved in this fight. With that, they head off and meet back up with the guys. After a little back and forth, it's been decided that they'll be needing to split up the work. To face off the Golden Dawn will be Vanessa, Finral, Asta, Noelle, Tristan, and Lilith, while the other Black Bulls being Charmy, Magna, Luck, Ellie, and Lancelot go off and deal with the problem involving the Diamond Kingdom. With that, they split up, as the people of the Witch's Forest try to take up defensive positions, getting their golem defense, their flying doll defenses all set up and boosted up in order to fend off the attackers. With that, the battle begins. Tristan takes out his sacred treasure bow. Drawing it back, he states, "Sacred treasure release, Scorpion." As a swirling of dark and light envelop the bow and then compress, turning into an arrow as he fires it. The attack being called Meteor Shower of Light and Dark, as light magic and dark magic begin to rain down on the grunts of the Eye of the Midnight Sun. Some of them put up the best defenses that they could, those with magic attributes that could defend against light ended up getting destroyed by the darkness exploding. Those able to defend against the darkness ended up getting blown up by the light. So yeah. As for Ellie, she used a combination of fire and wind to create a flame tornado blasting out a number of the grunts. Their goal was to separate the one leading them, being Fauna the Hateful, from her lackey. And Tristan and Ellie didn't really see a problem with dealing with them, since it'd be more fun to attack them all. As the attacks were flying towards the two, Tristan pulls out the short sword using the spell his father taught him, Full Counter. And yes, this is not a magic type, but a spell that Meliodas was taught rather than learned by controlling his own magic. That's just how it is. If you don't believe me, his teacher used the same thing. Okay, so he used Full Counter, sending all of their attacks back at them at double strength. As for the Diamond Mages, they were being taken out pretty decently by the others, with Luck and Magna trying to compete with one another, Charmy gathering some ingredients in the forest, all carefree, until someone stepped on the mushroom she tried to grab, and they got punched by the giant sheep, which then led to an onslaught of punches from it. Lancelot ended up using his snatch magic to take a good portion of magic from everyone around, and then using it while they were weakened to grab their grimoires and strike them at the same time, using his three-part spear. That similar to a three-part staff combined with a spear. As he's striking them and grabbing their grimoires, he's using his plant magic hat to wrap them and their grimoires up, locking them nice and secure. As for Lilith, she is high up in the air and has charged her blood magic heavily into her battle axe, dive bombing right down to the ground, slamming her battle axe, saying "Sacred Treasure Release." Savagure, Blood Chain Explosion. As a mass of blood magic erupts, shooting out chains of blood, grabbing the members of the Diamond Mage army, slamming them left and right. With this, Asta, Noelle, Vanessa, and Finro can focus on Fauna. As Asta goes in and tries to strike at Fauna with increase, Salamander, which she was riding, shrinks down and then maneuvers around it, becoming much, much faster. And then she creates crystal magic, shooting out crystal swords, as they are dodging left and right, trying to avoid this. As Salamander begins to get larger again, we see Noelle charging up magic as he fires Sea Dragon's Roar. He puts in a ton of power in this, taking up an entire jewel that has been storing up a ton of magic in her sacred treasure. Currently, she's down to 2. She wanted to end this quickly and get rid of Salamander, so she used an entire gem's worth to try to end it. though a large mineral barrier just emerged. As Asta sees that, he can tell that the sea dragon's roar isn't going to hit. Thinking about what to do, he remembers one of the things he was taught. As he smirks, he yells out, "Spirit Spear Gumnir! Seventh form Mjolnir!" As the giant warhammer comes out, and Asta turns into his giant mode. He places the hammer in the position, swinging it upwards, yelling, "Ground Gladius!" As a gigantic earth blade just shoots out from the ground. It passes right by Sea Dragon's roar and splits the giant mineral barrier in half, socking Fauna as the Sea Dragon roar shoots from in between the shattered barrier, striking Salamander, destroying it. As Fauna goes to the ground, begins to lose it, stating, "I hate you, I hate you, damn humans. Why would someone had side with filthy humans?" As a third eye shows up, her fire magic begins to erupt. This being where Mars shows up, yelling, "Fauna!" Asta looking, seeing Mars, as he doesn't look as crazed as the last time he saw him. Mars tries to talk to Fauna, remind her about when they were kids, about what they were forced to do, what was done to them, and where does he go? What happened to you? Shrinking down, releasing Mjolnir, going back to the Gumnir form, he kind of pieces together what's going on, as Anna's mind is getting even worse, more confused, as the memories from the human fauna and the elf fauna, which are both pretty tragic, are just making things worse. This is when it happened, as she creates a giant mass of magic, turning it into a bomb. Asta asks, we gotta do something, or we're all gonna die." Finral freaking out, saying, "No, no, 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 please, no, I don't want to die." As they were trying to think, Mars looks at Asta, asking him to help. Asta looks at him, but can see that he's serious. And this is not the guy he met before. Or at least he isn't acting like it. So he smirks, saying, "Sure." As he pulls out the Demon Slayer and Demon Dweller sword, as well as turning Gumnir into its dark mode. He says, "Let's go!" As Mars covers them in a phoenix robe to heal them, as Fauna's magic was beginning to burn them. As they were getting closer and closer, Mars kept trying to talk Fauna down, as Asta was getting closer with multiple attacks firing at them. This time, as Asta used the swords to block them, sending some back, destroying others, and even using the spear to help deal with the rapid fire. As they got close enough, Asta hurried and struck with the Demon Slayer sword, canceling it out and causing Elfana to be expelled. Once Mars grabbed hold of her, he asked if she was okay, as was acting different from before. Recognized Mars, asking where was she. Asta couldn't understand what's up, but he was glad that it was over. As the others were cleaning up the rest of the grunts from the Diamond Kingdom and the Eye of the Midnight Sun, they hear a big laugh just sounding, stating, laughing more and more loudly, stating, "Isn't that cute?" As Mars looks at him, stating, "Longrus." As Longrus used some of the magic he took from some of the attacks, he had his subordinates fired on it, absorbing their magic. He used a spell to boost his speed, grab Fauna. As he states, "I think I'll be taking this. I'm sure the kingdom will find her quite useful. After all, after so long, they thought she was dead. At least, they believed she was supposed to be dead. I'm sure they'll be curious about how you survived." And the King Fauna began to freak, yelling out no as Salamander emerged again, trying to attack Longrus. Longrus just absorbing the immense power, firing some of it at everybody at such speeds that only they could barely dodge. Asta was able to withstand it a bit, but he is pretty burnt. As he kept laughing more and more, this is when Ellie, Lilith, Lancelot, and Tristan show up, seeing what's going on, asking what just happened. Asta state, "That guy, he absorbed all of Fauna's magic." Tristan stating, What? Remembering that his dad told him about an opponent that could drain magic by grabbing them. As Longrich charged up all the magic he gathered up into a giant fireball, throwing it at them. Feeling somewhat weak, Tristan instinctively launched it back with full counter, also yelling, "No! He absorbs magic attacks!" This being yelled out as also we see Lilith, Ellie, and Lancelot already fired magic at him. As their faces turn pale, thinking that he just absorbed her magic by grabbing her. Once the magic hit, he absorbed all of it. He not only had twice as much magic power from what he absorbed from Fauna now, but he was also boosted by the attacks from Ellie, Lilith, and Lancelot as well. With this much power, he fired more, striking them again as they were pretty heavily wounded. Ellie and Lancelot were slowly healing. Their ability to heal isn't as great as their mother, as she is the fountain of youth now, which, if you didn't know that, you should read and watch the anime / manga and such. As for Tristan and Lilith, they were healing, but it really did hurt and took the winds pretty out of their sails. Asta was able to take some of the brunt of the attack, well, most of it, using his spirit spear's dark form and increase and his swords to protect him and his other friends mostly. As the Witch Queen saw this, thinking, those swords, power, and that spear. He smirks, stating, "How lucky." As Lagris just begins to laugh, when stating, "Oh, I'm gonna destroy you all. I'm gonna destroy this forest and take everything it has." Going kinda crazy with the power, this time more than canon, from how much more power is coursing through him. As the Witch Queen chooses to help Asta. Blood begins to surround Asta in the cocoon-like structure and begins to heal. The Witch Queen smirks, stating, "Don't worry, I'll patch you up and use something." Asta, this dreamlike state, it wakes up in an odd space. She sees what looks like a double figure sitting in a shiny tree. The devil laughs a bit, stating, "Looks like you need my help, kid. Otherwise, you might not make it." As he states, "I don't. What? Why are you?" With his laugh, "Don't worry about it. Let's just say our goals more or less align currently. I can't have you dying. I don't know what would happen to me." As Asta somewhat figured that his mind is inside the spirit spear. As Lagris extends his hand, grabbing Asta, stating. As Asta was dazed, he looked at the hand grabbing him as darkness began to envelop him. The devil stated, "That Witch Queen is giving you a hand, so I'd say we take it for all it's worth." As Asta is enveloped in darkness, his eyes glow red as four things shoot from his back. In the real world, a cocoon is swarmed around Asta, and when it unleashes, two very black wings come out of the back of his right side. Pitch black, spiky, and pretty decently sized. Asta's holding the demon Slayer sword, and the spirit spear begins to change from its basic increase into its large increase. For reference, the darts are now as big as Asta's body, or at least from back to end, they're a little bit longer than Asta's height. Longer is just freaking out, saying, What the hell are you?" Asta doesn't say anything and blitches towards him. Longer is firing off magic left and right, yelling at Asta to stay back, "Get away!" Asta just using dark increase, swirling around like a drill function, tearing away at the massive amount of magic that's being fired at him, trying to hit him at any angle. As Longer tries to just run more and more. He isn't getting really that far. Asta's freakishly fast now. As Asta bursts through the spinning mass of blades, he goes directly for Longris, who shoots out a massive beam of magic. Asta just striking it, going clean through it with his dark meteorite. As he gets right up to him, he strikes, sending him to the ground as he lands. Looking up at Asta, seeing him like that, he states, "Do it. Just finish me." Asta smacking him, stating, "Are you insane? You got so much to make up for. The people you hurt, all of the things you destroyed, the forest you set on fire." As Margaret just couldn't help but laugh, stating, I, I lose, and passes out. He's stating, oh, come on! Trying to slap him awake? It ain't working. As he looks over, seeing his other comrades are pretty banged up. A number of them are healed pretty well, but not fully. They got hit with a lot of power, most of which they ended up fueling. As the Witch Queen stated, I think that's enough. She thanked them for what they did, and stated that the help that she granted Asta will be taking her reward for it. Asta looking confused. He felt something in his body, in pain, as he was forced into Black Asta mode again, stating, the child, giant infant, and as a weapon, Fairy King, and those swords. I really couldn't pass this up. Snapping her fingers, all the ground begins to just get flooded with blood magic as everybody is crucified. Telling what Lilith was, she used a strong portion of her magic to shut Lilith's mouth shut so that she couldn't use her ability to eat her magic. As she ordered Asta to kill them. Asta shakily begins to move his body against his own will. With this, he goes towards Noelle, Vanessa telling her to stop, as this ends up developing into Rouge, Vanessa's red thread of fate magic, as it stops Asta from harming Noelle twice. This is where we switch over to perspectives of the devil inside of Asta's spear, grunting, stating, that woman, as he feels something different, something that the Witch Queen unintentionally connected, and with Asta not in control of his body, he has a one-chance shot, as Gumnir in its basic form goes into its black form, and swings the flat side of the spear, slamming onto Asta's head, undoing the spell, as the devil yells, wake up, idiot! Asta tipping over, with the Witch Queen thinking, what? As he panics, seeing that Tristan and Lilith are about to break free. She goes directly for Vanessa, only to be stalked by Rouge, causing her magic to dispel. Vanessa gives her same speech as in canon that Rouge will only side with the people she has a connection with, and doesn't have a connection with her. After accepting her loss and just dealing with it, things go similar to as in canon, as they're led into the Witch's Queen's palace, as he thanks them for protecting the Witch's force, handing over the medicine that the Diamond Kingdom tried so hard to get in the first place. With it, Marge promises Asta that he'll make the Diamond Kingdom a better place, and that one day they'll see each other again, and not have it be on a battlefield. Asta smirking as he shakes hands. Well, looks at him and just freaks, saying, Asta! You're back! Asta trying to see what's on his back, wondering, what? As a set of small fairy wings that seem a little spiky are popping out of his back. Asta's like, what? What is this? Ellie looks at it and chuckles, stating, your wings. Looks like they're beginning to sprout. I guess the witch's queen's tampering to allow that form you turned into also stimulated your wings to finally begin to sprout. Asta thinking, I'm gonna need to do something about my clothes. Thinking that he's probably gonna have to have holes in the back of his shirt now. This is when Nero lands on the witch's shoulder, tapping on the earrings he has. He then decides to hand over the magic stone over to the Black Bull, stating that I think this has to do with why they came here, at least the Eye of the Midnight Sun. Explaining the history behind it, that Asta's swords, as well as that stone, actually belonged to the elves. Finding it pretty interesting, they accept it without hesitation and thanked her as they went off flying. As Asta was all smiles, stating, yes, yes, finally. As Lilith just couldn't help from laughing, stating, calm down. You finally have your wings, yeah, but you don't have to act like it's like it's the best thing in the world. As Asa remarks, oh come on. Well looks at his small fairy wings, blushing a bit, thinking they're kinda cute. Wanting to poke them a little bit to see what they're like. As Lancelot laughs, stating, wait till Aunt Diane finds out. Asta thinking what his mother would do. Ellie already stating, oh, I already used some wind magic to send a letter to Oslo to deliver. Asta stating, oh. As they were heading to the Black Bull's hideout, they see that Diane's already there. She used the magic mushroom pills to shrink down and then use the antidote to go back to normal. Waving, congratulating Asta as he grabs him clean out of the air so fast he could barely even notice as he's hugging him, or more like squishing him against her face. As Asta stated, you're crushing me. Trying to breathe, he accidentally turns into giant mode, but he didn't activate Mjolnir. Diane's eyes sparkle, stating, you also grew your giant half too. Helping him up as he's glad that his clothes have been modified to change sides with him. As seeing that he's now in giant form and the spear's still the same. Yami just laughs, stating, looks like we have a reason to celebrate again. As Asta remembers handing over the magic stone they got. Yami smirks, stating, looks like we have 3 things to celebrate. Get the alcohol. As they were celebrating with a lot of meat, a lot of drinks, and Diane passed out after drinking her 15th barrel of alcohol. Yami just looks at this, stating, dear God, the tolerance of a giant is scary. Lancelot just looks as well, standing right by him, stating, yeah, this, yeah, don't question it, and don't even try to challenge her on it. You will die. Yami just says, point taken, and they continue drinking and celebrating. as Asta sticking in his giant form at the moment, trying to get used to it. Now that he can turn at will without using Mjolnir, he has more options now. So he really needs to practice more on his giant ability. Since he's mostly only used large scale attacks, he needs to work on the more delicate or the more precise ones, at least. As they were celebrating, Yami told Finral to open a gate as he left, dropping off the magic stone and giving the report. With Julius asking where are the others, Yami just stating that they're back at the hideout celebrating a job well done. With Julius smirking, stating, "Thank you, Yami. This will help immensely." As Yami just salutes and leaves back. Only to see that in his absence, things have started to get a little crazy. Currently, Lancelot and Tristan are fighting, and Magna and Luck got involved as well, and are now having magic thrown everywhere. Vanessa is drinking heavily with Noelle, Lilith, and Ellie, and that seems like it's going somewhere. Not sure where, but it's probably going to be slightly destructive. As he just says, "Deal with it in the morning," and continues drinking, ignoring what's in front of him. And with that, we end part 8 of What If Asta Was the Son of King and Diane. Do hope you enjoyed. Please remember to like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, and see you guys later.